Hello everyone, it's the UK Resistance. Right, so the Barcelona event. Yes, I'm going to make a video. It's quite a big event. I'm going to condense it, I suppose, into key elements, focusing mainly on the timeline and a general overview of events. I'd like to say that I'm not on the fence with this one. I don't believe that anyone got killed. I think this is a fake event. I'm quite happy to say that. It's my opinion. I hope that my video explains why I think that, and then you can come to your own conclusions. I'd also like to add before I begin that in order to prepare for making a video like this, I don't watch other people's YouTube videos. I don't watch other people's analysis of the event. So therefore, any information that I put out is purely my observations. I'm hoping that it crosses over into other people's YouTube videos, that myself and others have spot the same thing. That just strengthens the evidence if they're two independent observations, independent of one another, which is why I don't look at other people's stuff. I want this to be completely what I see. So let's begin. This is a map of the timeline. This is Las Ramblas. I'm going to call it the Ramblers for now, because my Spanish is terrible. Right, let's just crack on. I'd like to say I'm sorry if I make mistakes. There's a lot of information to get through, lots of photos to get through, so bear with me, please. Let's get this done. So the van mounts the pavement here at point 1. It enters the Ramblers, zigzagging down the pedestrian way until it reaches the Miro's mural. Now it says that it was travelling at 50 miles an hour. It's got this length or this distance at 400 metres, but I have measured this distance on Google Maps and it's more than that. So, you know, believe as you will. Killing 13 people and injuring 100. Okay, so remember that. He then gets out of the van and proceeds to travel back up the Ramblers, believe it or not, on foot, I presume running. They tell us that he reaches this area here, Carrer dels Toldes or Talles, 2 minutes after mounting the pavement in the very beginning. 2 minutes. Right. I don't think you need to be a genius to work out that that doesn't make sense. I've actually done the numbers and worked out how fast you would have to be travelling, or how fast he was travelling, how quickly he covered that distance, and it doesn't add up. I'll show you in a second. Like I say, that's just common sense anyway. 2 minutes. This area here is apparently where the hostage situation took place, and we'll cover that too. So let's look at the numbers. So just for the record, that map told us 50 miles an hour. I'm going to be working in kilometres per hour. So 80 kilometres per hour is the equivalent of 50 miles per hour. So here, for instance, we have, he mounts the pavement here at the beginning of the Ramblers. And this distance all the way to the mosaic is 572 metres according to Google Maps. And it's as the crow flies, but this is a pretty straight road. And 572 metres travelling at 80 kilometres an hour would take you 25 seconds. It was stated it took him 18 seconds. Bear in mind that he's hitting people, hitting objects, zigzagging. So not only does the zigzagging add distance, it also slows you down. Need I say more? Then he gets out of the van and he travels from here back up the Ramblers to approximately this point, which is 436 metres. And I don't want to get too complicated with the numbers, but if we say 436 metres travelling at approximately 9 kilometres an hour, which is about 6 miles an hour, which is a slow run for a man, fast jog, that would take him near enough 3 minutes. So, well, we've already blown the 2 minutes out of the water, and that's if he didn't bang into anything, get slowed down, stop for breath. Then you've got to climb out of the vehicle. He's got to decide which way to run. He's got to dodge people, you know, decide where he's going to stop. Timeline is ridiculous. Ridiculous. Okay, so let's see where this area is. So this is the Ramblers in Barcelona. I've never been. It looks very beautiful. Now this area here is where he mounted the pavement apparently, and heads straight down to this area. No doubt we shall see in a not long distant future all this will be bollarded so no one can get on there anymore. Absolutely no doubt about that whatsoever. If it's not already, well, it can't be. I mean, apparently he mounted the pavement. But what I found interesting was this isn't where the first victim was hit. Believe it or not, the first person to be, and I say the first person, the first place away from the Ramblers, or the furthest distance that a victim I've seen in photographs from this area is someone from here. So I'm assuming the van's come down. It doesn't mention anything about someone getting hit here. I'd like to say I haven't seen anything mentioning someone getting hit here. It all says it's all on this area here. But I'll tell you why I believe someone was hit here. Because of this photo. Let me just blow that up for you. Okay, so there's someone injured on the floor here. Remember, I call him Backpack Man. This guy's got a backpack on. Also remember this young lady here in the light blue top. So they are attending someone here. Now these bins here are the bins here. If I just move around slightly to this angle. Here we go. So we can see the umbrellas in the distance. And this doorway here is this doorway. The tree. So we know we're in the right place. They're obviously all helping to pick someone up. They look supposedly distraught. So an accident has obviously happened. Someone's been hit. So then they go from there to picking the lady up, as you can see, and carrying her. So we're assuming that there's no ambulances. These are police officers or some sort of security officer. This is a police officer, but apparently no ambulances because nobody's got any stretcher or actual equipment to lift her with. And they proceed to carry her across the road. And I'll show you, notice these big doors here, so I can show you which direction they're heading. That's these doors here. Okay, so depending on where the photo's been taken, from here somewhere, they're in this vicinity anyway. They've crossed over and come to this area. And here is Backpack Man laying this lady down in this area here. Now, if I'm not mistaken, is that not an ambulance in the background? Why is she being lifted and put over here with everybody else? It's very, very strange. Now note as well that there is an umbrella up. Okay, so he's carried her across. They put an umbrella up. I'd like to add there was helicopters flying overhead, so we know the whole story with umbrellas, sheltering views so you don't get a good photograph of what's actually going on. And the reason I believe that this is the same woman that was across the road and he's carried her over is because I believe that this young lady here is the little girl that was standing with them. And I'll show you that picture again. Here. There she is. You can see she's got, her legs are bare, she's got shorts on, just as in here, and the colour of the t-shirt's the same. Obviously I can't see the print on the back, but the hair's the same colour. So yes, I believe that she's travelled with him across to this area, laid this lady down. And bear in mind when this has happened, you see this is all taped off already. Ambulances are already here, so why they haven't picked her up I don't know. Umbrellas are up. And the reason I say that is because one of the first pictures we have of this area, here for instance, where there are ambulances, there are no umbrellas yet. Okay, so ambulances have arrived. There are no umbrellas up. This is the area those people have been taken to, but there's no shelter. So this woman who's over here somewhere, where I showed you before, who's over here somewhere. It's obviously still there. And all the ambulances have arrived, yet they decide to carry her across. It's all for a picture opportunity. It's all just to look good. It's ridiculous. Okay, so let's go on a journey, shall we? The vehicle mounts the pavement and heads down this way. He's already hit someone over here and some people over here, apparently. Oh, before I do move on, I just want to point something out. In this picture here, if you notice, this area has been taped off. Now, I can't categorically say why that is, because this is the area the van's travelled down and the injured are at, and these are all injured and this has not been taped off. I believe this has been taped off because this is where the hostage situation is going on. And bear in mind that they say it only took him 2 minutes to get down the end of Ramblers and back up again. This is fairly early on. They've taped this area off to keep people away from the hostage situation. That's what I believe. Now, all these people are still out in the open here. Bear that in mind too. So here we go. Mounts the pavement and he heads down this way, knocking people over as he goes all the way down here, zigzagging. 18 seconds of zigzagging, if you believe that. I believe he stayed on the pedestrian area and didn't come onto the road. The reason I believe that is because you have lots of different things along the edge of this, like trees, lampposts, bins. Once you're on this path, hard to get off of it. And that's why I believe he stayed on it and just stopped when he got to the mosaic at the end. Now, some of the pictures were shown along this area here. Just want to touch upon before we go anywhere else. I'd just like to start off with the Ramblers is known for its street performers, people pretending to be statues in all sorts of awkward positions, pretending to be trees, floating, you know, all kind of stuff. Now, I don't know about you, but if you're in this kind of costume and you're stuck on something like this, you are not going to be get down easily, are you? Right. So why aren't there any street performers laying injured on the ground? They would definitely have been hit, and there'd been more than one floating around, as it were, or laying around injured, as it were. So that's quite interesting. I don't understand why we don't see any of them, because they were probably not told to turn up that day. And we're shown this kind of footage. I think I'll just mute it. I'm interested actually specifically in this lady who they've blurred out, because if you notice, yeah, warning, contains graphic content, please turn away. If you notice, everybody, and bear in mind, right, excuse me, look how mangled this woman is. Does that look real to you? No, it doesn't, does it? And I'd like to point out as well in this, and this was actually pointed out to me by someone, and you know who you are, that these areas have been taped as if markers for where people's heads and arms should be. But I say people, I believe these are dummies. I mean, for obvious reasons, when you look at someone in a weird position like that, and she's being left, no one's bothered. As they move up the walkway, this lady here doesn't move position. They go up and back again, and she's still in the exact same position. And as we go down, look, you see the gruesomeness of all that. But for some reason, they decide to blur out this lady, and I couldn't help but wonder why. And then I discovered this. This is hilarious. So here we go. So we go past everybody, and this is the lady they blurted out, and it's because she's only got a top on. Yep. Now, I say she, it's a dummy. I mean, it's clearly a mannequin. Let's go back over that again. Here we go. And yeah, she has no private area. It's a mannequin. Blasted wide open. I'm sure I'm not the only one who spotted that. If you've discovered... The thing is, they blurred it out on this one. So if all you've come across is this piece of footage, you wouldn't know why. I just thought it was a child, and that's why they blurred it out. But no, apparently they decided, oh, that's a bit obvious, we better cover that up. A dummy. Beautiful. And moving on from that, more dummies. So this piece of footage of the carnage again. And yet again, More dummies. I mean, you can't... The bottom of the foot doesn't look real. I know it's blurry. There's nobody around. I mean, it makes me laugh how nobody is paying any attention to... Excuse me. Oh, for goodness sake. Nobody is paying attention to the injured or the bodies that are apparently sprawn out, as if they're the ones that they want people to see in all their entirety, laid and sprawled out like that. And why would you walk through this area? Why are you not walking up the road away from the bodies? Why is everybody strolling around and working their way around? Because they've been told, mole around, it's good for the camera. And I particularly want to go back to, there it is. Yeah, all right. It looks like a child. So if a child's been injured, truly injured, their parents would be there, okay? That child's just been left. Now, even if the parents weren't there, that would be the one person that you'd be looking after, or at least trying to look after. People are walking past them, they're making a fuss of people on the sides, and just, this is for effect. Just leave that body stuck there, that mannequin. Yeah, we've seen it all before, it's just ridiculous. So yeah, that's what I think. So back to Google Maps. So yeah, so all this carnage is going on all along down the ramblers, until the van gets further down here. If I remember right, yep, just about here. We have some footage from one of these top windows. This is an erotica museum. Joy. And from one of those windows looking down, we see the van go past this way. And it's an interesting piece of footage because actually it's not far from where the van actually stops. Here we go. This is the window looking out on the street that I just pointed out. These guys are mulling around looking at the erotica museum. And if you look behind them, you'll see the van go past. Everyone's rushing. Oh, there it goes. Did you catch it? Watch it again. Slow it down. People are dashing out the way. Obviously something's coming. Why would you, cross in front of it? I don't know when you've got a buggy. So these guys all hear something as it rushes past. So they go to the window to look out. See, well, what just happened there? They don't look particularly alarmed. They're like, I'm not really sure what it was. But what makes me interested in this is before the van comes flying past, bear in mind this is near the end of the Ramblers. He's hit, what, 70 people already? Killed possibly 10? They would have been screaming, shouting. This window's wide open. These people are oblivious to anything until the van goes past the window and down the street. It's rubbish. Look. Yeah, turn around. No one notices anything until now. And then they all head towards the window. Right, on cue, all of them. And then also there's a little clip of outside in the street. Here. Slow down. Now this, just like to, I'm not really sure where this is outside of, but this is the road, this is the street where the shops are, and here, in this bit here that you can't see, is where the van is rushing down. And he's rushing from this side to that side. So we're on the same side of the street as the museum, erotica museum, and I'm assuming actually that it's, well, this lady's got a t-shirt on the outside, so we've gone from, I think it must be the same place. This must be the footage from outside as it's gone past. I've just noticed that she's got that t-shirt on. And again, people just watch as it goes. You'd think they've had, here it comes, people are running. I'm assuming that it's just going past now. This guy looks completely, what, just seen something, but I don't know what. So why, they've all run out the way, okay? So either they're all acting to run out the way, or something literally and honestly has gone past. We saw a van from the window. If it's not CGI and it has gone past, fine. We don't know when this has been recorded. This could have been done in advance. But
why didn't they know it was heading up beforehand? They would have been screaming and shouting, and you would have had notice that this was happening before it actually gone past you. Even so, let's go past that. And then at the end here, I just want to point out really quickly, again, is the footage in here. The lady is now shutting the windows. Don't know why, but look at the big beaming smiles on these guys' faces. They look like they're having a whale of a time. But does this look like two people that have just witnessed dead bodies on the street? No. They don't look at all distressed. Look at her. She's almost laughing. Well, she is laughing. It's just rubbish. Absolute rubbish. Okay. So that was from one of these windows, and it's come along here, and it's now going to come to a rest at the mosaic here. So he gets out of the van, and I'm assuming probably runs. He ends up on this side of the street, so we're going to follow him back along here. Again, he's running past all the dead bodies and the mayhem. I mean, you've seen the amount of traffic on here as well in this Google's map. So he's either going to be traversing the traffic, or he's going to be running along the side of the street where lots of people are going crazy, or he's going to run through the actual ramblers where there's dead bodies everywhere, which is going to slow him down. And he ends up the top of the ramblers, quite close to where he first mounted the curb. And this restaurant here is apparently the Turkish restaurant where he held hostages. So you can see this is the top of the street. You can see why I feel that that's why they'd cordoned off this area. It's quite close to where he first came up onto the path. And the reason I know this is the area is because we have footage filmed from this window. We'll just show you. If you come across here, you see the window has these stickers on it. Bokda or Bokeo or something it says. And that's this footage here, I'll show you. Mute that. So these are hostages being released, apparently, from that Turkish restaurant I showed you. I don't know how the negotiations went on. I didn't even look into that. As you can see from that top window, you look down and you'll see someone. It's such a show. It's such a show. And then you'll see someone in a second actually coming out of the actual restaurant. So you can see it's not far from where these guys are sitting. Let's get that over. Speed this up. Go on now. Here we go. Trying to get it so we get someone actually coming out. So yeah, he's just come out. So that's where that is. So yeah, out of here they've come out, and that's the restaurant window that they filmed it from. And then they head out over here to the police. Not really sure what went on with the whole hostage situation thing. To me, it was wrapped up when you see the dummies and you just think, oh my goodness, and people's reactions, and yeah, it's just silly. And we have, what I found interesting was this guy here was penned up inside a shop. His story doesn't make any sense, but it's a long one. It's 3 minutes. I'm not going to go into all of it. But ultimately what he says is that he's in this shop in, it's called Typografia. And I looked at the shop. It is where it says it is. It's on Cara di Elizabeth, but it's not anywhere near where the actual event was taking place, not in the sense that you'd be able to see anything. And he states he can see things, you know, going on, and things are getting calmer outside. But actually, if I show you where this guy is, this is the Rambla. And that guy I just spoke about is here, Carré de Elizabeths. So yeah, he's not, I mean, these streets all grown, he's not going to see, and these are tiny streets. If you've ever looked on Google Maps, these are tiny little, you know, streets. You can get a vehicle down them. It's pedestrians only, really, or a motorbike. So he comments on what happens at the Ramblers, and there's no way he would know that. And he talks about it like they're observations. So anyway, he says he's caught up in this shop for hours because there's a hostage situation. So those hostages are there for ages. So those people, so all these people have been told to stay in shops, and lots of reports about how they've been told to stay in, like the woman off Holby City who was in a fridge or a freezer in a restaurant for hours. Right? And what I'm getting at is they've been told to hunker down and stay out of harm's way and all this kind of stuff. Yet these guys on the street here, well, you know, that's fine for them to stay there. That tape was up before the umbrellas were. So the hostage situation was taking place while they made these guys comfortable. So it doesn't add up. This is all for effect. Stay inside, danger, danger. But then they have to keep the victims outside because that's where you see them. And then the tape because of the hostage situation. And it's just, when you piece them all together, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't play how it would do in real life. And then just for a little bit of amusement, I just wanted to point out a couple of stories of this lady. No, that's not a lady. This lady, who had apparently been in 2 other events. So she was at the Barcelona attack and took refuge in a shopping mall, but she was also at the London Bridge attack on Borough Market and at Notre Dame in Paris when a police officer was stabbed outside the cathedral. So, yeah, this is a regular thing. So it reminds me of this guy who also managed to survive 3 terrorist attacks. Mason Wells, if you remember him, Brussels, Paris, and then Boston bombing. So yeah, so now this lady has done the same. It's ridiculous. And lastly, just for some footage, this was put my way recently. Just I'd like you to have a listen to this.
Subsequently, we also got messages. There's a WhatsApp message being sent around Barcelona about this hunt for the second white van that was rented, apparently by the same person that rented the initial van. And that message has been distributed on now Spanish media as well. At the base of Las Ramblas, where we are, there was at least maybe 8 or 9 ambulances that are waiting. With a team of maybe 40 paramedics, not clear what they're waiting for. But they were not rushing to attend injured. It seemed as though they had another objective, or maybe perhaps just being prepared for the worst.
So that's quite interesting. That, and I think that is something to do with the picture I showed. Not this one, sorry. Well, that shows it a bit. This one, where paramedics and ambulances are just literally loitering. This was at the beginning of the event, and there's nothing stopping them from travelling down there to the injured, but they're all parked up here doing nothing because I think it just looks good. And well, to be fair, there's no one down there that actually needs any attention. And just for interest, I thought this was rather funny, that one of the suspects, and I don't think it's this event, I think it's the next event that happened on from this, and they're all part of the same group. I just thought it was quite funny that his name was Said Allah, if anyone noticed that, S-A-I-D, Said A-A-I-L-L-A-A, Said Allah. Yeah, like, that's a real name. And then here again, classic guy, police officer, taping area, and you have 2 guys in the background here who think everything is hysterically funny. It's just typical, always catching people in the background laughing. And then yeah, again, classic dummy,
You can tell it's a dummy, people. Look at his legs. No one's feet stay straight and upright like that. Look how tight. I mean, is that rigor mortis already setting? And look at this guy here who's just doing nothing. He's walking past. I mean, look, they've just come out of the shop. Yeah. When are these pictures taken? Do they take these pictures well in advance? Because nobody looks like they're bothered. Is this done from a staged event when they had a practice someday? Who knows? Anyway, there is so much more to this event than I have covered, but I literally cannot do any more of it. I'm now free to watch everybody else's videos, thank goodness. I'm so relieved. And if I find anything new, I shall make another Barcelona video part 2 perhaps. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed. I hope it made sense. Thanks for tuning in. Take care, everybody. Bye.